Yep. Good evening, everyone. So, last session, I given a simple example on how do we work with components. Have you tried that Netflix example? Able to do it? Is there any difficulty in that? Huh? Everyone able to do that practically, right? If any doubts are there at the end of the session, we will see, right? If any doubts are there related to what we learned, doubts means related to what we learned, right? If any is there, we will discuss at the end of the session. Okay, right. So last session, what we done? So we learned how to create a component and how to design a simple interface by using the components and working with them. NPM start. Okay. The complete component hierarchy I showed you how to work with it. Now, once we learned how to use a component, design a component, access a component in another, that means for that we have to use all import techniques, export techniques. And yesterday we saw one more using Bootstrap. By implementing Bootstrap, how we can make presentation effective also. Now, the next concept you need to understand in React while working with components, you need to know about data binding in React. Remember, we are learning all function components first. After learning everything about function components, then we can go into class. We will see that. So in function components, up to now what we learned, just create a component with some markup and present in the UI. That is the part we have learned. Now we need to understand very important concept, data binding. Actually, what is data binding? What is the concept of data binding? Generally, data binding is the process of accessing data from source and binding to UI, user interface. Data binding means it is the process of accessing data from the source and binding to UI. So that is data binding. Not only binding data to the UI, identifying the changes in UI and updating back into source. This is complete process. That means access data and present the data in UI. Identify the changes in the data and update those changes back. This process is called data binding. For example, I will show you the point. What is data binding means? Every web application have to follow this data binding technique. For example, suppose we are having a variable like we have some variable, some user name, and it is having some value. I want to collect this username and I want to display in a text box. In a text box, so we have a text box called some name. In this text box, we want to display that username. Whatever value is in present in that, we need to display in this text box. Now, generally, tell me how to do this in JavaScript. In JavaScript, how we can access data present in a variable and attach to text box. How we do that? That is data binding. How we do this in JavaScript? You are thinking or waiting for my answer? I am a little bit confused. Huh? You are in a void state. I am unable to understand. Huh? How we do in JavaScript? How we do this in JavaScript? So this text box will have an ID. Am I right? Suppose txt name. Now into the text box, we want to display that username. Generally, we need DOM manipulation. Document dot get element by ID. Get element by ID. What is it? Txt name dot value is equal to what? Username. That is how we need to bind. In JavaScript, in jQuery, everywhere data binding requires this mechanism. In jQuery, little bit simple. Actually, in jQuery, what we do? $hash txt name dot val user name. Like this we do. jQuery will reduce the logic like lengthy. So generally, we have to handle data binding by using lot of DOM manipulation. Okay, this is accessing the data. How you update this data back to UI, back to the variable. Suppose I am changing some name. Here John is displayed. I changed this John to David. Now this must update back into this variable. If I need to update back into that variable, generally what we have to do, we have to use some events now. I hope you know you have to write events like on, key up, or you have to write, because you are writing text box now. Text box events are what? On, key up, on, key press, on, blur, on, focus. But here key up, because there is nothing like button. If there is a button, we can write button click. So on key up, what we have to do? So we have to collect that username. We have to access that username. In this username, we have to apply the value coming from this text box. Same, what we have to do? Document dot get element by ID txt name dot value. You need to depend on events and you need to depend on DOM. So JavaScript, jQuery, complete data binding depends on DOM methods and events. Now React and Angular like technologies, they will reduce this effort. They will reduce this effort. They will be little bit simple and easy to handle. How? I will show you. So data binding is accessing data from source and binding to UI and identifying the changes in UI and update back to source. Update back to source. That is what actually data binding. And very important, data binding data binding is handled in JavaScript and jQuery by using DOM methods, and DOM events. We have to manage lot of DOM methods and DOM events. That is what actually we do with the help of JavaScript jQuery. But what React can do is React simplifies the data binding. But unfortunately, simplifies the data binding. But what is problem is actually data binding is of two types. Data binding is of two types. Number one, one-way binding. Another one is two-way binding. And unfortunately, React supports only one-way binding. React supports only one-way binding. In a certain way, it is good and it is bad. React supports only one-way binding. What is one-way binding? What is two-way binding? One-way binding means accessing data from source and displaying in UI. And two-way binding means identifying the changes and updating back. And React can't do this. Then how? That means if React cannot do two-way binding, how it will update back to the source? It have to again depend on events, lot of events. That is unfortunate. That is not great. But some technologies are very popular because of two-way binding. They can easily handle two-way binding without much logic. But React will not internally support two-way binding. It doesn't mean that in React two-way binding will not work. Internally it is not supported. Explicitly we have to implement. That means we have to manually write the logic and we have to implement. So React supports only what kind of binding technique? One-way binding. And what is this one-way binding? So one-way binding is nothing but one-way binding is the process of accessing from source and binding to UI. So it is unidirectional. It is unidirectional. So it is one direction only. It is not bidirectional. That is the problem here. But this binding is very simple. It is easy to bind. I will show you how this works. I will show one simple example. Let's see. Suppose I will open this now. Yeah, this is the page that we designed. This is yesterday's example. Yesterday we created this interface. Now I will add one more component here. Let's go to component and add a new folder, data binding. Okay, and in this I will add data binding dot component dot js. In this, let's create a simple function. I will create export function data binding. Okay, data binding component. In this, we will return some simple division here. We will put a heading, some product details. Like this, we are configuring. Initially, this is one small concept now. Now, I will make this available in the startup. So let's go to index. In index, we will import data binding component. And you can see the data binding component is working now. And because I am using Bootstrap, I will put a class name as container fluid. Okay, so here this is some presentation we are having. Okay. Now what we want is, we want some data to present. Let's create some data. In this function, I am adding some data. Data is nothing but, so where I will create, working with data is in several ways. I will explain all the methods. Initially, we will put some hard-coded data. Later, we will learn how to get it from APIs. We will learn all techniques. We will first create a variable, and the variable is product, and it is an object type. You know, JavaScript object type. So in this, we have name and some name. So we have some price and some price, and we have some stock, some true. Just some data is present. Now our concept is present this data in UI. In JavaScript and jQuery, you need to use lot of DOM methods. Even to present a simple object, in UI, you have to do lot of work. Suppose I am using data list. In the data list, we have term. In the data term, I am giving name and data definition. In general JavaScript jQuery, what we do, get element by ID, data definition ID, and append the data into it. Inner HTML, inner text. I hope you know that. But now here it's very simple. Just a binding expression. Binding expression is just a curly brace, and you can access the product and its name. That's it. That means you can see it can access the data and display. That's so simple. Actually, in JavaScript, you need to write an event like body load, on load, collect the data and display. But here it's very simple. That means actually, so React uses data binding expression. So that is curly brace. It uses data binding expression like this. And we don't need DOM methods. That means, so React can bind any data without using DOM methods. No get element by ID, anything. Suppose, I will show you here. Suppose I am creating another data definition. In this, I have input type is equal to text. It's a text box. In the text box, I want to display that data. In the text box, if I want to display the data, there is a property. What is it? Value. To that, we need to use a binding expression. Here we have to define product dot what name. And you can see that product name is binded here. You can bind the data in a very simple manner. This is simple data binding technique. That's why it looks very simple. This small work in JavaScript you have to do in a lengthy way. In jQuery also. That simplifies. You can easily bind the data and present. Suppose I am using another data term, some price. What is it? Data definition. What is it? Product dot price. Another data term, stock. And here stock is a boolean. I can use simply an expression here. What is it? Product dot stock is equal to true, question mark, you know, ternary operator. I will present the text as available, and otherwise I will put as out of stock. And you can see automatically it presents the data. But remember, storing data in a variable, accessing data is not recommended in React. Currently, we are just learning that concept to understand how data attached. Later, we will see all the correct techniques. First, we should know the process, how to bind, right? Data binding is a simple concept. I will show you various techniques now. We will see that. See, this is simple data. So I will put a simple syntax here. Syntax is nothing but, suppose we have var username and it is having some name. I want to display in div. What to do? We just write hello and simple. We have to put user name. That's it. That means we need to just bind the data in this way. This is a simple data binding one. Example I will give you like this. So this is a data binding. So data binding dot component dot js. In this I will copy this code just for your practice sake. This is the code we are defining. Okay. This is simple data. Let's go complex now, little more complicated. That means because generally data comes to us in various ways. Currently you saw which one object. Let's try array. Let's try array of objects. Let's try little more complicated data, how to present them. Let's see. For example, here I will remove this. Okay. And here I am creating a simple categories. Categories is an array. Now I want this electronics. So this like footwear, like fashion, like this. I want to add this. I want to add this in an ordered list. I want to add this in an ordered list as list item. Every category must be displayed as list item. You know, in JavaScript, how much hard work it is. You learn JavaScript, na? In JavaScript, do you know how to dynamically create a list? Have you ever done that? If done, you know the problem, you know the pain behind this, right? So how we do in JavaScript, I will show you. Just roughly, I will show you. Huh? I will just add a simple HTML page. See, suppose this is a general, your JavaScript. Here we have an ordered list. Into that, we need to add some items. There is a script. In that script, we have some data where categories is equal to array. Like this, electronics, footwear, like this we have. I want to add these categories into ordered list. Do you know how we do in JavaScript? First, we have to write on load. What is it? Body load. We have to write the function. What is the function? Body load. On body load, we have to write for where category of what is it? Categories. For every category, we have to create a list item where li document dot create element. So what is that element? Li. In that list item, inner HTML, we need to display what? Category. After that, we have to access document dot query selector. Which one? Ordered list, OL. Into that we have to use append child, which one? Li. This is how we do. In JavaScript, we have to do in this way. That means you see, I run this, then it is going to add that and display. Now imagine you have to create a drop down like that. You have to create a table like that. This very complicated. But this is how your JavaScript does. There is no other way in JavaScript. There is no other way in JavaScript. This is the only way that JavaScript teaches you. And it is having. That means we need to use this lengthy approach. Now see how simple it is here. Now here, inside the ordered list, we have to put a binding expression. Here we have to access the collection. What is the collection? Categories. Now tell me, already we learnt array methods, right? This is array na? Tell me the array methods that are used to read every element from array. Which array method is used to read every element from array? Not a loop or iterator. I am not asking for loops externally. I am asking what is the array method which is used for reading, all elements from array. To read all elements from array have lot of methods like toString. ToString will return, but they will separate with comma. Join will return, but it will separate with our own separator. We can use find, but find will return only first one according to condition. We can use filter. Filter also returns based on condition. Unconditionally, all must come. Then we can use map. You know, na? That means I am using here map. I am using map. What this map is going to do? Map usually uses a callback function. And here I am reading every category. So you know this is a shorthand technique. Am I right? That means what we are doing, we are reading every category from that categories. And for every category, which element we need to create? We need to create which element? Li. In Li, what should be the text? In Li, the text must be this category name. Just we have to mention the category. That's it. That means now what it is going to do is, it is going to read every element from that particular collection. And it is going to present that element as what? List item. This list item is attached to which parent? Ordered list. That means you can see your list is ready. That is so simple. The same thing in JavaScript, lot of work. Now it is very simple in binding the data. Very easy. So data binding so enables this. For example, now see here. That means here I am giving as I am giving suppose arrays. Just arrays example I am showing you first. Now let's do one thing. Suppose I am creating a drop down. So here I am creating select. In a drop down, I want to create an option for every item. Then same technique. What we have to do? Binding expression. What is the collection name? Categories dot map. Read every category and return. That implies indicates return. Return what? Option. In that option, what should be the text? Text is what? Category. Automatically a drop down is ready with all the details. That is how it presents. Now, for example, you see here in the array, I am adding all as first item. I am adding all as first item. Okay. Then automatically it is updated everywhere. Right? This is a simple way of binding. In JavaScript, it is very complex. Even in jQuery also, you have to use external iterations. $each. We have to use for in, for off. So technically, this is the way of presenting the data. Suppose, so see, it depends on complete your requirements. Suppose if I ask like every category name must be in a checkbox. I want every category like a checkbox, right? Then every category like a checkbox. Then I will do one more here. I will create an unordered list. For this, I will put a class name list unstyled. List unstyled is nothing but it will not display symbols. That means it removes the symbols, right? Now here we have to access what is it? Categories dot map. And what we have to do? Category. For every category, we have to create a list item. In list item, we need to present what category. It will get that category. And you can see that. And this is list item. But I want a checkbox now. Then what we will do is here we will put input type is equal to checkbox. And beside the checkbox, you have this. And you can see for every item, there is a checkbox here. There is a drop down here. There is a list here. Every item I want like a button. Anything you can do. Any presentation is easy. This is very, very complicated in JavaScript and jQuery. jQuery little bit simplifies, but still the logic is required. But here we can easily present. Now don't get confused. This is nothing but generally what is the map syntax? What is the map syntax? Collection dot what? Map. Map actually uses a function. This function, what it will do? It will read every item. Am I right? That item we can present. In any way we want, we can present. This technique we need to use. It's not only map. You can use any technique which is suitable for reading all elements. We can even filter. I will show you how do we filter. For example, this is simple. Suppose I want buttons. Let's try. Suppose I want buttons, then I will keep a div here. And what we are doing, we are using an expression. So in this expression, what we will do, we will create another categories dot map. We read every category. And for every category, what to do is create a div. So in that div, what you will do? In that div, put a button, and for button, we will put the category. That means it is going to return all the buttons. It is going to return all the buttons. That means we are going to present all the buttons. Button width and all your wish, right? That depends. That means I am giving a class name W25. That means it is going to apply all the buttons in the same size. Here, one problem is that actually you are watching this very cleanly, right? We are displaying every item. Here, one important note is, so very important note is every iterating item which is generated dynamically must have a unique ID, unique key in React. Every iterating item which is generated dynamically must have a unique key. That means a unique reference. That means how many list items created? 4. Now all list items cannot be same. They must have a unique reference. 4 buttons you created, all 4 buttons cannot be same. They must have a unique reference. If there is no unique reference, it is error in React. Actually, you can't see that anything in the interface. In the front end, you can't see. Let's see, right click, go to inspect. When I go to inspect, in the inspect, you can observe here there is console. You can see in the console, you will find that error, and it is saying that the error is nothing but it is saying that warning, each child in a list should have a unique key. it should have a unique key. That is what it is explaining. It should have a unique one. Another problem is nothing but it is saying that, so you are doing some presentation which is not a good way. Good way means, that means it is saying that some div is missing, some data definition is missing, like this. That is okay, those things we will resolve right later. Initially this is the problem. That means you must have a unique key for every element. You can see this is the problem we are having. When I refresh the page, you can see only one error is there. That error is key. So that means now what you have to do, every iterator, that means from the first onwards, this list item must have a property called key. And that key must have a unique reference. Unique reference means currently only category name we have. That category name only we will use. That is okay. The same you have to maintain key for every element which is iterating. You have to define a key. Understood? For every element which is iterating, suppose here div is iterating, you have to put a key. Now you can see, now there is no problem. Every iterating parent only, not child. In iteration which is the parent, that should have a key. That means here you may see that I am not giving a key for checkbox, because checkbox is not parent. Parent is who? List item. In list item checkbox is there. So iterating item is not checkbox. Iterating item is list item. For that you need to use a key. That means every iterating element must have a key. Syntactically, suppose we are using some collection dot map, and we are reading every item, and we are presenting every item, we are presenting as a list item. If every item is presented as a list item, close. Here what we have to do, every item must have a key. So that item we have to give as a key, that item we have to print here. This is how we present. So presenting complex data is very important. Complex data is important. For that we regularly use this map. So I will copy this example. Here we will use, this is example for array type, simple array type. Previous example was object, and this is an array. A simple array example I given. Okay. Now I will copy this one. So what is it? Data binding dot component dot js. This is the code. So here we are having all the options. I'm just using a simple array. Okay, let's see little bit more complex data. That means we will see array of objects. We know array and we see array of objects. Let's see how we can present array of objects. I will clean up this. Okay. And here, yeah, I will create another data. Let's say here I am creating where products. Products is an array, and it is an array of objects. We know array of objects. In this we have name, some TV, another price, some price, another stock, some true or false. Like this we have some data. Name, some mobile, some price, and stock, so some false. Like this we have some data. This is an array of objects. Suppose Nike casual. Okay, like we have price. This is all the data we are having. Stock is true. Okay, we want to present this data. This is what? This is an array of objects. Now, how do we present this data? We want to present this data. So see how we can present. I will use here products. I will use here products table. Suppose I want to display in a tabular form. And again, you know, in JavaScript, you have learned how to create a table dynamically. To create a table dynamically, it is too complicated. Why? Because you have to create row, you have to create cells, you have to add cells into row, you have to add row into table body. It's a lengthy process. But here you see it is simple now. We will create a simple table. We will keep here class name, table and table hover. This is actually bootstrap classes. I will create a table head, in that table row, in that table header. In header, I will give name and I will give price and I will give as a stock. And you can see this is the table we are having. Now I need to add row for every item. That means we need to read every item and add as a row inside table body. So inside table body, we write a binding expression. We need to read every product. Then what we have to do? Products dot what? Map. Map. And map, we will read every product. Implies what to return. What to return? We have to return a row. So this row is repeating. This row is repeating. And what we will do is, then we will put a key. Key is product dot, product is an object, product dot name. We will use product name as key. Actually, if product is having ID, it is very good. That means product ID will be used as key. As of now, I am using name because there is no product ID. If there is product ID, I will use it. Okay, now how many cells we need? 3 cells. In first cell, what to display? Product name. In second cell, what to display? Product price. In third cell, what to display? So product dot stock. And I will just keep this a binding, and if it is equal to true, question mark, available. Available. Otherwise, out of stock. It's a ternary operator. And you can see now the table is ready. Presenting data in a tabular form, that's an very simple. This is how we can present the data. So this is actually little bit complicated. And not only that, you see now here in the last cell, I will keep as actions. Okay. And in this last cell, I'm adding in this button, I'm adding a span. So class name as BI, I will say, suppose I fill. And for this button, I will put a class name as BTN info. And you can see there is a button added like this. I'm adding one more button here. And I will keep this button as a pen, BI pen. And this is like but BTN warning. And you can see another one will come. And here I will give, suppose margin start as 2. That means it will keep some gap. And I am adding one more button here. I will keep as BI trash. And you can see, and this is BTN danger. And you can see this is how we can create. Dynamically we are designing. This is a table. Dynamically we created a table. We can make them functional later. Right here, initially the concept is presentation. Right, This requires lot of concept in JavaScript and jQuery. Angular and React will make this very simple, right? Because they have built-in library for this. They will take care about all the rest of manipulations. You need to just bind, right? So this is how we present in a tabular form. Suppose if anyone asks like, I want like a card style, you can use your all bootstrap knowledge, and with that bootstrap knowledge we can present. I will show you. We can put some images, we can try some designs also. We will take some real-time data and use it. With the help of real-time data, we will try to present. Initially, first we need to know how to collect the data and present. Okay, now let's see little bit more complex data. This is already complex, more complex data we will see. Suppose I will copy this one also. This is another example. This is example array of objects, data binding dot component dot js. This is another example. So I am just showing level by level. First you saw a simple variable, then you saw an object, then you saw an array, then you saw an array of objects. Let's see nested data. That means embedded object inside object, so array inside object. That is very complicated, right? Of course, it is simple also to handle. Let's see now. I will remove this. Okay. Let's remove this. Okay. Now I will create here. So some menu, shopping menu. Okay. Here you see I am creating a variable called menu. In this menu, I am having an array. Array have object. In that object, we have category. Category name is electronics. In that we have products. Products is again array. In that we have TV and we have mobile. That means this is an array. In that there is an object. In that object, first one is string. Second one is array. Second one is array. Now array is again string type. Okay. Similarly, I have another category. Another category. This category is footwear. And we have products for footwear. So some Nike casuals, suppose say some Lee boot, like this we define. Now I want to present this menu. How to present this menu? I want the presentation like this. Suppose I want the presentation like this. Number one, what is it? Electronics. In that A, that is TV. In that B, so that is mobile. Like this I want. Number two is footwear. I want to create a nested list. Now, how do we present like this? So remember, we have an array inside array again. Now let's see how to do this. I'm just using here, I'm creating an ordered list. Okay. In that we write a loop first. We have to loop through the menu, right? Menu dot what? Map. We have to read every item. Okay. For every item, what we need to create? List item. This list item will have, what it will have? Item. Item is an object. Item dot category. And here I will put the key. Key is what? Item dot category. Now you can see the item categories will come. Electronics, footwear. How to generate a nested list? You know, in HTML, inside the list, this is list na? Inside the list, after printing the category here, we have to create unordered list. Your wish, you can put ordered list and say type A. Your wish, you can do anything. Unordered list, in this list item, in this we need to use what to map. Remember, item have two options. One is category, another one products. Products is again array. Category already you are printing. This product we have to print. So items dot what? Products. Products dot map. And we have to read every product. And for every product, I need to create a list item. This list item will have a key. Key is what? Product. And we need to print that product here. And you can see now nested list will be there. That is how we create. That means an iteration inside iteration. Is it possible to design like this in a drop down? Is it possible to design like this in a drop down? Will drop down supports nested list? In drop down will not support nested list, but drop down supports option groups. I hope in HTML you know option have option groups. You know that? Option have option group. We can do that. For example, see here. I will create another one. I will create another heading as select product. Okay. Here we are creating a select. In this select, what we are doing iteration means binding. What is it? Menu. Menu dot map. Read every item. Okay. For every item, you have to create OPT group. For every item, you have to create OPT group. This OPT group will have a label. That label will be item.category. And this OPT group will have a key. That means we need to keep a key. That key is item.category. And in OPT group, we need another iteration. Now what here we have to do is we have to write item dot what? Products dot map. We need to read every product, and for every product we need to create an option. OPT group contains option. In that option we will print the product, and here we will put the key. Key is what? Product. And you can see it is going to display that like this. This is an option group. I hope you know in HTML we can use an option group. That is how we can present like this. So the way of presentation completely depends on your HTML skills. Now, if you say that I don't know this option group, what it is, that means that is silly thing in React like concept. In React, if you tell that I never saw this OPT group, that is like joke. What you are talking about? This is general HTML, right? That means you have to put your full HTML skills in React for presentations. That is where many times you will face problem. Why? Because generally in companies, when you go for interviews, they will give you screen designs. And they will say that this is the data present like this. And many times you people are confused how to present because you are not perfect in your presentation. That means you don't know HTML properly first. Which element is required, which element to iterate. There people face a lot of confusion. Seriously, you can't crack React practical interviews without this HTML knowledge perfect. You can't, practically you can't do what they given to you, because React interview is not theoretically asking you questions, answers. Obviously, the second round of React interview will be a practical test. And in that practical test, they will give you data from API and they will give you some screenshots and they will say design. design those screenshots and send. Means you have to design the complete screenshots with presentation and data. You need lot of presentation skills. You need to understand. Now, can you tell me how to create this expandable collapsible? If I ask, this must be expandable collapsible. That means I click electronics, electronics should expand. How to make that expandable collapsible? Actually, to design that, in HTML, we have details and summary. You know this? In HTML, we have details and summary. By using that, we can create such expandable. First, you should have that idea. Na? How do we create? You may be thinking like, I need some jQuery JavaScript for this. Because not required, just HTML is enough to do that. Right? For example, see now, I am using here. How to create that? I will do one thing here. So select category. Yeah, select category. Okay, here I am creating. So a iteration like this, okay, means a binding expression. In this binding expression, what we are doing, we are using menu dot what map. We are reading every item. For every item, I am creating here details. For every item, I am creating details. And in this details, we'll have a summary. That summary I am giving as item dot category. In that, I will create an unordered list. This unordered list will have another item. This is what? Item dot products. Item dot products. Products dot map. We read every product, and for every product, we will print a list item. The list item I am giving as a product. Always use the keys also, right? Key is what? Item dot category. Here also key is what? Product. And you can see with HTML, we created this expandable list. That is what actually details and summary is. This is an expandable list. You don't need any special skills in this HTML, right? And lot of presentations we can do by using Bootstrap also. By using Bootstrap, we can create complex presentations that I will show you, like cards, like various kinds of data we can prepare. Initially, this is nested approach. This is nested. The parent-child hierarchies, any level of nested approach you can go, right? So you must able to try all these various techniques. This is nested data. Same data binding dot component dot JS. I'm just giving various ways because everything you have to know perfectly. That means you must able to handle every type of data that comes to you. Then you should know all the techniques for that, right? For example, let's see here. Suppose we will put here some options like this. Suppose we will create, let's remove. We will create some details. Actually, some websites you see, suppose we have websites like Amazon. So when you see Amazon, you see in Amazon, these are all details. Actually, you may be thinking like they are designing all this data. Means they are designing this presentation. They are not designing this presentation every time. What they are doing is, actually, I hope you people know, this is called card. Am I right? In this card, this data is coming from a JSON file. Every day they don't design these cards. Every day they will be changing. Every day they will be changing. It's not same. What do you think? Every day a developer will sit and change the photos, huh? Right? That can never happen. Then what they do is they just put the data source. This is coming from a JSON file. They just need to update the JSON, and automatically those updates are pushed into the UI. Now, for example, let's see one simple point here. So let's see. Here I'm using, let's close this. Let's copy some pictures here into data binding. Later, I will show you the other process. Actually, this is data binding folder. Yesterday in this folder, we kept in the folder, we kept Netflix banner and all. So what I will do is here, I will keep, see, in that folder, I will copy some pictures. I'm copying some images, right? Okay, in my computer, I have some images. So Netflix, yep. I have some images. Let me copy some images there. These are all some images I'm having. ASP, AWS, DM, DS. Okay. Some 4 courses related, some data is there. Some images are there. I'm copying here. These are all JPG files I'm having. ASP, AWS, DM, DS. Like this, I have some images. Okay. Now let's see here. I'm defining some data. Let's create an object here. So where courses. Courses is an array. In this array, I'm giving an object. So I will say title. Title is ASP.NET, something. And we have an so poster. Poster is, so it is having /, means in the same folder, ASP.jpg. That is a picture we are having. Okay. And we have, suppose in this, we have some topics. So topics is an array. In this array, we have web. So we have like API, like MVC, something like this. We have some topic. That is one topic. I'm using another option here. Suppose there is a title. Another title I am defining according to the images I copied there. Right? Suppose I will say AWS. So, and we have a poster, and poster is /aws.jpg. AWS. Okay. And here we have some topics, and we say some cloud. So services and database. So database, like this, we have some cloud. Like this, suppose there are so many data. Now we need to present this. First, I will show you a simple point. Suppose I am using a expression. In this, I am creating an image. You know, image is a self-ending. In this image, what is it? SRC. That means I need to generate an image for every course. I will do one thing. What is it? Courses.map. We have to read every course. So we need to read every course. And for every course, I am creating an image. And this image source is having, what is it? Course dot, what is it? Poster. I'm giving width is equal to 100 and height also equal to 100. Like this, I'm defining. You can see that images are here. The preview is not available. So ASP.jpg, AWS.jpg, you can see the preview is not available because there is one concept. If you want to use any resources, dynamically. Yesterday we haven't used in React, we used in CSS. In a CSS file, we linked it. That is okay. React will not allow to use any resources from any location you want. I told you one folder name, you remembered. All static resources must be in which folder? All static resources must be in which folder? Public folder. That means where we kept this in some different location. I will show you here. Suppose I will copy these files. I will just select these files. I will move these files into public folder. That means we are moving the files into public folder. In the public folder, those files are present. That means we are moving into public. So here in the public, there will be there. Every static resource, because in CSS it is fine. In CSS you can put anywhere, but dynamically in React, if you are using, all the resources must be in public. That is why I told you public for static resources and SRC is for dynamic. Right? So we keep that in public, then directly we can access. We have to just mention the name. Right? Of course, if you want in public, you maintain a separate folder. In public, you can maintain a separate folder. I will show you that. But initially, keep your images in public folder. They are working. But I don't want like this. I want like a card style. I want like a card style. Then see what I am doing here. Card style usually in websites we follow that. Right? So similarly, you can put any number of, am I right? Copy. I will put another one. So that is digital marketing. Okay, and here we have DM. Of course, topics you can give anything, right? Similarly, I have another option. Another option is the data science, DS. Data science. Data science, and here we have DS. DS. And same different topics you can keep. Okay, those files are fine. Now what we will do is we need to design here. We will put here courses. Courses. Okay, let's keep. Now I am creating a simple div. In this div, we will keep class name dflex. I hope you know. We will use a flex wrap. Flex wrap. I want to generate a card here. Then just create a map. What is it? Courses. Courses dot map. Read every course. And for every course, you need to create a div. Now this div is having class name as card. Card, I will give margin 2, padding 2. And for this, I will give even suppose W as 25. Width also 25. Okay, inside the card, I will give an image. This image, SRC will be how much? So SRC, I will give here. SRC coming from where? Course. Course dot what? Poster. And it will have a class name called card image top. And I will give some height of that image. Height of the image as suppose 150 pixel. Okay. Now under that div, I will keep another div. I hope you know in Bootstrap how to design cards. Class name, this is what? Card header. In card header, I will keep a heading. And here I will put as a course dot title. Course title. After that, I will keep another div. And this div is having class name. This is card body. In the card body, I'm just giving. So here, topics. We have an unordered list. In that, we will put a binding expression. What we have to do? Course dot what? Topics. Topics is an array. We have to use a map. We have to read every topic. and every topic must be presented as a list item. So every topic must be presented as a list item. Here we have to present the topic. Now here I am adding one more div, and in this I am writing so as a card footer. So div class name, so class name as a card footer. Card footer, I just give it a button here. So class name BTN and BTN primary, and I will keep here as join course, and I will keep this as W100 like this. Now actually this is the information about all the courses. You know, this is all the courses, right? That means it presents in a card style. That means the data presentation in a card style. This width we can adjust, but for that we need to write some styles. We need to put some styles. Later I will tell you how to write the style. Actually W25 is huge actually for every card, right? Later we can apply. You can see this is fine. This is all the courses that we have that we presented in a card style. The way of presentation is important. That is why I said you can't say I am a React developer, don't know Bootstrap, don't know JavaScript, don't know HTML. You can't be a React developer, right? So these are the way how you have to handle the presentations. Now this is all about data presentation. This is only one concept you learned. What is that you learned? One-way binding. Understood? You learned only one-way binding. Now we need to understand how to handle two-way. And we will see how to interact with real-time data coming from API. How we can access data from an API, how we can present, right? First you need to practice up to this everything. Then we can go with others, right? Then tomorrow we will continue, right? Tomorrow we will see how data binding works in another approach. Currently you saw only one thing. What is it? One-way binding. How two-way binding works, we will see the process. Key properties. Property key pop is removing the keys. Right. So these are the options. You try this. What is it? What is it? Bootstrap cards. Data binding. Data binding dot component dot JS. This is binding component dot JS. Right. This is example. These all I will upload. You try. Right. Then tomorrow we will see another approach. What is that another approach? Two-way binding. How two-way binding work? Okay. Tomorrow we'll continue then, right? Yeah. Yes, online people, anyone have doubt, you can raise your hand so that I can get back to you. Who is having doubts? Yes, Shiva Prasad.
Sir, yesterday When I trying to import booster files in a React
Share
user.
your screen, I will see.
Okay, sir. Sir, host disabled.
Share now.
Are you visible, sir?
Yes.
Here, sir, fourth line and fifth line.
Where you imported this? Have you installed bootstrap icons?
Yes, sir.
Um,
Here, sir.
Now go to that import statement you written. Remove that path. Now write import.
Import.
You still have so many errors here. Write down. Import // node modules / bootstrap. Where is bootstrap? It is not there. You installed your node modules outside the project somewhere.
Yes, sir.
There is no bootstrap in your project.
Then how can
Uh,
I, sir?